everyone. As a continuation of our report, and my part is an integrative model working memory. The working memory model is probably the most widely used and accepted model today. Psychologists who use it view short-term and long-term memory from different perspectives. And before we proceed, I know a lot of you will ask, what is working memory? How does the working memory model explain short-term memory? The answer is, it is the information we hold and manipulate in our conscious attention. Second, it is what we are consciously thinking about at any one time. And of course, the most basic is the thinking. And here are the example of how working memory works. First is problem solving, navigating, music, and of course, reading. And this example will be more further explained later on. So let us have the components of working memory. So we have visual spatial sketchpad, phonological loop, episodic buffer, and of course, the central executive. But first, let us have the phonological loop. Phonological loop is called the inner ear. This is where we process sensory information that relates to sound. For example, the articulatory control system. This refers to rehearse. This system rehearse the verbal information. Imagine gisugo ka sa imuhang mama magpalit og suka, tuyo, asin, bitsin, magic sarap, and then since wala nimo siya nasulat or wala kay kasulatan, imo siya balik-balik og istorya for you to not to forget kung sa gisugo sa imuhang mama. And then imo siyang gibalik-balik, suka, tuyo, asin, bitsin, magic sarap, suka, tuyo, asin, bitsin, magic sarap, and then suddenly nakita mo sa mong friend o nag-story mo kanila, and then you're interrupted, and then you suddenly forgot kung sa tuig sugo sa muhang mama, and then boom, wala na, you forget everything. Repetition is a great way to keep the information handy, but a lesson information is stored in a long-term memory. Any interruption will just wipe in your memory, just like sa imo grabe ng pag-repeat sa sugo sa imong mama, and then suddenly nakita mo sa imong friend na distract ka, and then na-interrupt imong brain, na wipe out tanan tong mga pangsugo sa imong mama. We use phonological store when we read either out loud or soundly to ourselves. The inner ear holds information in speech phase from in about 1 or 2 seconds. And then let us have the visual spatial sketchpad. Actually, just like the phonological loop, visual spatial sketchpad, this is where we process information that relates to visual. And then we have this. We remember faces, navigate places, and then of course recognize different kinds of food. Phonological loop and of course visual spatial sketchpad actually work synchronously. But remember, just like a desktop workspace, there is a limit on what we call process. Fortunately, central executive is an active agent. I forgot to put the central executive, to put on the center. Actually, central executive is an active agent in understanding a limit of processing needs and can switch on component that is only needed. Kanang example, grabe na kay kalodi ng imong putok, tapos once your phonological loop and your visual spatial sketchpad are overwhelmed, dili na siya makaprocess of tarong. And then since naman si central executive, siya ang magdumala kung what are the necessary information na kailangan nato, for example in visual and also in hearing. And let us have the episodic buffer. Episodic buffer doesn't have specific expertise in one or two type of sensory information. Instead, the episodic buffer seems to be a system that binds together a variety of sensory information. For example, visual information has multiple subtypes like color, texture, direction, and we take as episodic buffer that pulls that all together as an coherent image. Processing verbal information is also a set of several subtasks like understanding, graphemes, phonemes, and language-based coding. And again, it's episodic buffer that binds the data together. Episodic buffer also the process that helps us to chunk of full sentence into three or four main idea. Episodic buffer is the process helps us to remember sensory information together like on flash bulk memory. For example, I have a memory katong naligo mig dagat, and then I remember everything unsay kuan kanang feeling ay kanang sang unsa kaparat ang dagat, ang kuan sa ang breeze sa hangin sa dagat, and how the sun hits my skin, kanang ma-remember nimo siya kuan ba kanang clearly. And then to sum it up, bodily working memory model explains how we use the central executive to determine which sensory information is important and which is not. We process that sensory information through core of the components of the system. We process verbal and textual information through phonological loop. We process spatial and visual information to the visual information sketchpad. And we bind it all together using the episodic buffer. And all of that information encoded to and retrieved from the long-term memory. That's all. Thank you.